So, today we're going to talk about what an intuitive marriage actually is, why it matters so much, how self awareness changes everything, and a few practical ways you can start becoming more intuitive in your marriage starting today. So, if you're married or you're partnered or hoping to create a beautiful relationship someday, this episode's for you. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm the host of the Intuitive Marriage Method. And I created the 12 foundations to help me stay in check with my marriage. I'm an intuitive guide and a marriage mentor. And my passion is empowering women to, become more self aware, have more self love, self worth, so they can be the best version of themselves in their marriage and enjoy a harmonious, deeply connected, passionate relationship with their husbands. So, welcome. And welcome back if you are a listener of the podcast or if you've already caught one of my first couple of YouTube videos. Thank you very much for coming back. I appreciate you. I'm still learning to try to be comfortable on camera while still giving an excellent audio version of the podcast as well. So thanks for staying in there and please be patient with me. I promise it will get better. But I do read, and you may hear some papers rattling. So I do apologize. All right. Well, let's get started. So most people, you don't really grow up learning how to have a conscious marriage. I mean, I was fortunate. I did have wonderful parents who were very much in love with each other and stayed married until my mother passed away in 2014. Um, but not everybody is really taught that or is modeled that. So we usually learn things like don't rock the boat, keep the peace, suppress your feelings, and if all else fails, like, passively aggressively slam a cupboard door, right? Or pots and pans or something. Gosh, back in the day, you could just slam that phone down, if your husband called you on his break, slam it down if things weren't going well. Can't do that anymore. And even though, it's a very effective communication strategy, by the way, highly recommend it. Just kidding. Sarcasm only. But, over the years, I guess, is through my own life and my own marriage and my own relationships. This is my second marriage. And mentoring women and talking to couples and speaking with women. I've realized that something very powerful is the happiest couples that I know are deeply intuitive with each other. And that means they don't just communicate. They feel each other. They just get. They just get each other. It's like intuition. It's just a knowing. And this is what I call an intuitive marriage. You just understand each other. Barry and I have gotten to the point where we finish each other's sentences. We say something that the other person's like, I was just thinking that, like, we just are in each other's thoughts and we understand each other's patterns, but that's taken time. And we're both actually very intuitive. And we're very both much, that didn't sound right. We are both very empathic as well. So we feel each other's energies and understand each other. And so that also does help. But becoming more self aware is the first step to understanding your intuition and having an intuitive marriage. So let's start here, shall we? What exactly is an intuitive marriage? Because I think when people hear the word intuition, they imagine something mystical like, you need to sit on a mountaintop in Peru, drinking ayahuasca, or off somewhere magical, mystical, getting downloads from the universe. And all that, although that sounds absolutely fantastic and wonderful and completely my vibe, that's not what I mean. An intuitive marriage simply means that you are emotionally and energetically aware of yourself and your partner. You pay attention, you notice shifts. You can sense when something is off before it turns into a massive fight. There's salty sarcasm. You're poking a little bit, you get a little irritated. Um, then you're all of a sudden having this battle about who forgot to take out the garbage, right? Um, and let's be honest, it's really not about the garbage. It's never about the garbage. There's always something more there. And in an intuitive marriage, couples learn to, turn the page here, couples learn to notice emotional cues, listen beyond words, understand energy and mood, respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. It's less about mind reading and more about being deeply present. So when you're an intuitive with your partner, when you are intuitive with your partner, you start asking questions like, tell me about your day. Are you okay? Sometimes that can be a trigger depending on how you've used it. Like, are you okay? But you're gently asking. You seem quiet today. Is something bothering you? You sense the energy. We always hug when Barry comes home. We always hug for like 10 to 20 seconds. I always say like a 16-second hug. Um, and we feel each other's energy, and sometimes we help recalibrate each other's energy. So, you just become in tune with them, and you understand, and you just get a vibe for how they're feeling. So instead of assuming everything is fine until someone explodes like 3 weeks later or over the years, right? It's or months, or all of a sudden, boom, your world has been turned upside down. Um, trust me, I've seen that. I've seen that movie many, many times, and it's not fun. So I truly believe that intuition matters in marriage because relationships are emotional ecosystems. Everything affects everything. One bad day at work, one stressful week, one unresolved resentment, and suddenly the whole house feels very tense. In intuitive marriages, couples don't ignore these shifts, um, they acknowledge them. And what happens is something really beautiful. You stop it before anything happens. You're proactive. Small problems stay as small problems. Um, they don't fester into larger issues because they get addressed early. Instead of turning into the silent treatment, passive aggressive comments, or emotions or behaviors, or the classic, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm fine, whatever, I'm good. Um, it's fine if I happen to do that and be like, I'm fine. Barry will literally look at me. He'll turn everything off. He'll put his phone down. He'll shut the TV off. Maybe he'll like light up a joint and be like, let's talk. You're not okay. Like, you're not fine. Let's talk. What's going on, babe? He gives me a hug, and usually I start crying, and then it all comes out. Um, and usually it's because I'm still mulling over something. Maybe something was said. I'm hurt. Maybe it's something that has happened outside of the home, like not with us. Um, and maybe I'm still mulling it over. I take a lot of time to do my own inner work, I guess, shadow work. I look and make sure, like, how was I accountable in that situation? And sometimes I just need to take time to see how even if I need to ask a question or find out more about it. Um, and that's something that I think is continuing. But if he happens to notice it, then we definitely have a conversation, and he always holds a safe space for me. And I always hold the safe space for him. Um, it's like when we hear the I'm good, I'm fine. Um, we all know that that means that not everything's good. Not everything is fine. And intuition allows couples to catch disconnection early, offer support sooner, respond with compassion, and create emotional safety. So, an emotional safety is the foundation of a thriving marriage. Safety to me is everything physical, emotional, everything, because I lived in such a high state of unsafe for many years in fight or flight mode. So now I'm at peace. I have a sense of calm and I feel a lot of safetyness. I feel safe within my core when I'm with Barry. And he gives me that safe space to allow me to express my emotions, even when they may be difficult for him to hear. Um, and when both partners feel safe emotionally, they communicate much more honestly. It's not scary. They fight less destructively and they reconnect that much faster. There's no stewing, like there's no, ruminating over the issue. We don't hold grudges, or at least very little, right? We deal with it right then and there. And now, here's what most people don't really want to hear, but it's it starts with us. Becoming intuitive in your marriage actually always starts with you. It always starts with you, not your partner. I know, shocking. We always want to push the blame or, deflect or think that, well, I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for you, or I wouldn't have said that, or, that's all your fault, or you're not doing this, or you did this. It's very easy to point the blame somewhere else. Everybody wants their partner to become more aware, right? Well, if I'm so aware, how do I get I need my partner to be more aware. You want to blame, because sometimes we have that, um, he thinks differently. He's a man bullshit, right? Yes, I get it. They are wired differently. And we want him to be a man. Um, so we need to check ourselves first. We need to just take a look in the mirror and see, what am I doing? What can I do to improve? How can I become more self-aware? And what can I do to bring a better version of myself to the marriage? You know, and intuitive marriages are built by self-aware individuals, because you cannot understand someone else's emotions if you don't understand your own. Self-awareness means, knowing your triggers, understanding your emotional patterns, recognizing when you're projecting your own reactions. Shadow work. Did I mention shadow work? Oh my goodness. There's a great book by Carl Jung I'm doing right now. It's on shadow work and it's like a workbook journal. Um, and I've little backstory. I've been a lover of self awareness and self development books for, gosh, years, years, and years. Um, intuition, self knowing, all that kind of stuff for a very, very long time. I read The Secret back in the early 2000s, like 2005 or something, whatever that was, and 2003, 2004, something like that. Um, my mom had these new age beliefs, crystal ball, the mediumship stuff. I was always very highly intuitive and just had a sense of knowing. So I've always been very interested in self-awareness. So that's, I'm finding this, even you learn more and more because your brain opens up as you get older and you just become more in tune with yourself, that you're always now self-learning, I feel. Um, but I grew up having some strange experiences and just seeing things, but it took years, like years of understanding my own intuition and what that even was, and trusting it. Didn't listen to it for many years and went through lots of hardships and, heart aches in relationships because I wasn't super self-aware, or thought I was, and wasn't listening to my intuition. And so I just believe that that's extremely important. We have to check ourselves first in anything, any relationship, friendships, coworker relationships, all the kind of relationships you can have, sister, auntie, uncle, all the things, right? Like this is for women, so I guess he would be an uncle, but I mean, any kind of relationships, we have to check on ourselves first and who we are. So if you like your partner forgets something and you immediately feel hurt or angry, self awareness asks you, like, why did that affect me so strongly? Was it about the moment, or is it tied to something deeper, like feeling appreciated or feeling unappreciated, feeling left out? When couples develop this level of self awareness, something magical really does happen. And the arguments, they shift from, you always do this, you made me feel this way, the blame game, to, I'm feeling hurt because this is really important to me. And that one shift changes everything because blame creates distance, but vulnerability creates connection. I'm going to say that one more time. Blame creates distance, but vulnerability creates connection. That's a good one. That's a writer downer. Okay, moving right along here. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here's the fun part. Let's talk about how we actually do this. Because insight without action is just a really great idea. And here are a few practices that I often share with my audience or my clients. So every relationship has an emotional rhythm. Pay attention to it. Notice when your partner seems quieter, more stressed, more playful, or more withdrawn. What mood is he in? Instead of ignoring these signals, don't be buried in your phone. Be present. Be grateful for him and get curious. Don't always assume it's about you. And then you go into your passive aggressive behavior and sulking because you think he's in a bad mood because of something maybe you've done and you haven't even asked. But now you reflect behavior that now can create a very tense, awkward situation for no reason. Instead, get curious, ask him some gentle questions. Curiosity builds connection. Still get to know your husband. How well do you know your husband? Get curious. Some of the questions you want to ask him. We often do that. We'll sit down and just have just ask questions. The other night, we just sat up and talked for hours and hours and just talked about stuff. It was like, oh, I didn't even know that about you. Like, we're still learning stuff. And it's really fun, actually. It's reminds us sometimes of our first dates, just getting to know each other. And oh, also assumptions. Don't assume, just don't assume because it instantly creates creates conflict. It creates a negative energy in the room. Like I said, it just feels awkward. You're assuming maybe he's mad at this or you're assuming whatever. Just don't assume. Don't assume, okay? One of the simplest tools that I recommend to couples, honestly, when they're having some difficulty with some communication is a daily check-in. Start daily, just 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything overwhelming. Just check in with each other. How are you feeling today? What's been on your mind lately? Is there anything you need from me right now? Excuse me, how can I support you better? This keeps the communication flowing and prevents emotional buildup because that's not good. Then everybody just explodes, right? It gets bottled up. Oh my goodness, pardon me. It gets bottled up and then your emotions, excuse me for a minute. Oh my God, I gotta love Fresca. Anybody else love Fresca? Sorry. Emotions, they get bottled up. It explodes into conflict, something very uncomfortable. And it's usually over something very dramatic like the dishwasher. or laundry on the floor. Oh gosh, or toothpaste on the counter, or even more dramatic, like an eyelash in the sink. All kidding aside, though, some people do express their emotions easily and others not so much. So some people need their space and others need connection. An intuitive marriage means learning how your partner processes their emotions, not forcing them to process them like you do. You can't make your husband think or feel like you do. And that is a big mistake. We often try to manage their emotions or, we want them to react a certain way. It just you can't do that. They're their own selves, right? Um, when you allow your husband to process his emotions the way he does, that creates mutual respect instead of frustration. And then you get to learn each other even more. So he may need a little more space. Um, he might need more connection and more talk, right? Now, how to strengthen your own intuition. I will go into this much deeper in other episodes, but maybe I'll do a workshop on that. I think that would be fun. Your intuition gets stronger the more you listen to it. So slow down, though. You need to get quiet. Get off your damn phone. I am reading a book right now called How to Break Up with Your Phone. And it's amazing. It's been incredible. My phone has been away a lot. Um, and it's life changing. I can't even tell you. Maybe I'll do an episode on it. It's incredible. It's really amazing. And in order to hone your intuition, I sometimes feel like I go through stages where my intuition isn't quite as strong. And usually it's because I'm not journaling. I notice when I'm not journaling daily, when I'm not meditating, I'm not getting quiet, not listening to my inner self. So you need to get quiet. Okay, that's number 1. Get off your phone. Notice the feelings in your body. Where and what does it feel like? And notice emotional signals in conversations. Notice body language. Notice how you're feeling. Just make a mental note of it. And sometimes even when we go to have a conversation and we're going to have a little check-in and I need to talk about something, I will literally have notes. I will write things down because if we get talking about things, I often forget or I forget to mention something or, maybe something will happen where oh, my phone's ringing. Sorry. Well, that threw me right off. Oh yeah, just notice how you're feeling, I guess. Um, Notice the emotional signals in conversations. Watch your husband's body language. Look out for patterns, you know, sense the energy in the room. Trust your inner knowing. Intuition is like a muscle. You do need to practice it. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. But that takes a self awareness of being more present and tuning into yourself so that you are listening to those inner thoughts. Write them down. Do you journal? If you don't, please start journaling. It will be life changing for you. I write every day. Um, Now, okay, so here's a simple exercise I have for you. I want you to try this with your partner this week. Sit down together without distractions, phones away, turn the TV off. No TV, no phones. Ask each other these 3 questions. Okay. Question number 1: what has been bringing you joy lately? Question number 2: what has been stressing you out? Question number 3: what's one thing I could do that would make you feel more loved right now? And then listen, not to fix, not to defend, just to understand. You might be surprised by how much closer you feel after just one honest conversation. Now, at the end of the day, okay, you guys, an intuitive marriage um, isn't about perfection, okay? It's not about perfection. There's nothing perfect. It's about presence, being present. It's about choosing to stay curious about your partner, even after years of being together. It's about paying attention to the emotional landscape of your relationship. And it's about growing individually so that your marriage can grow too. Because the truth is, the most beautiful marriages are not the ones without challenges. They're the ones where two people keep learning each other over and over and over again, growing together. And that to me is the heart of an intuitive marriage. So if this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. You can also grab my free marriage wheel, which helps you evaluate the 12 foundations of a thriving marriage. It's actually an assessment tool that I use before I take on a client for one of my programs or any coaching. And it's a fabulous assessment tool if you want a little bit deeper insight into your marriage as to where you need to maybe do some work on. And if you're on your own journey toward a more intuitive relationship, and just know that it is absolutely possible, okay? I would want you to grab this free quiz I just created over the last couple days. It's so cool. I like it. I mean, I love creating shit. So I created a fun free quiz so you can find out what type of an intuitive wife you are. Discover your intuitive marriage archetype in 2 minutes. Okay, so you can find that link in my bio. And eventually it'll be up here on YouTube, I think, as well. But for right now, you can find it in the link. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next episode of the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. Well, I guess it's that's what I used to call it, the Intuitive Marriage Podcast, the Intuitive Marriage Method. I do have it on audio podcast and YouTube. So anyways, this has been a hot mess and I hope you've had fun. And I hope you get something out of this. Please hit the like button, subscribe. If you are new to the channel, I'd love it. And share it with someone if you found it valuable. And in the next episode, I plan on diving deep into the 12 foundations of the intuitive marriage method. So stay tuned for that. And thanks for coming out. Bye for now.